We do have people in here. What's up, everybody? We are just testing right now. We will be starting in about 10 minutes, but I'm just making sure that my North Carolina internet speed is going to sustain this. Can you hear me, BBM? For anybody that's watching right now, we will be starting in about just under 10 minutes. Just making sure the stream health is good. Everybody in the live chat, is it any delay on this or anything? All right, thank you guys. We start in about just under 5 minutes. When Milt gets in here, we got to make him a... Okay, there he is. Okay, we got Milt moderating. Appreciate it, Milt.
There are no paths between the lions and men. You may just be my best friend. Very old friend. I wouldn't say friends. Those clubs that the winner would allow the loser hold a proper feudal rich. Totally did, right? No. Now you know who you're fighting. The king in the north. But in my hands.
Let me know when you're ready, BBM. Thank you, Rise. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that right now, Milt. Yeah, I'm ready, BBM.
Ready when you are, Justin.
All ready? All right. Yep. Just 1 second here. All right, welcome everybody to the first official episode of, as of right now, we're calling it In the Mix with myself and my co-host here, BrokeBlackman94. Thank you for coming on this little adventure with me, Broke Black. It's much appreciated. I always like streaming with you, so we are trying a little bit more of a tighter format than the usual live stream. Might not happen today. We're going to be working out some kinks, but we're going to be trying to give you guys something that's more of a show, that resembles more of a pre-recorded show than a live stream that is just usually a bunch of friends bullshitting. So we're going to try to keep it tight. We are going to interact, of course, with live chat. It wouldn't be live if we didn't want you guys here. But yeah, we're trying something new. So we're going to cover a multitude of topics here and have a special guest, Bran the Builder, in a little bit. So should be fun. How you doing, BBM?
Doing well on this Sunday morning, man. Get ready to talk numerous of topics.
There we go. Are we, I don't see your video. Are you?
Nope, going off video for this.
You're going off video?
Mm-hmm.
You bastard. All right. All right, how many people do we have in the chat here? Just 1 second. And I think everything's streaming okay. So how many people do we have over there? All right. Now I got the chat up. All right, we'll kick it off. So BBM does reactions. If you guys aren't familiar with his channel, which I'm sure all of you that are currently watching are, his information is in the box below. So make sure to check him out. And I also do recaps and reviews and breakdown and sometimes films and other stuff. So make sure to, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'd like to thank everybody that's here right now for being here. And we are going to jump right in and talk about our first two topics, because speaking of what me and right now, at least, especially for me, all the shows that I cover in detail, except for one British television show that I do, are on hiatus. So it is the fall television series, you know, the time for the new series to all come out and premiere. And we've gotten not that great of a group of shows so far, but we still have some coming up, so we're going to talk about a few of those. The first one we're going to address is the Orville, which was kind of heavily hyped because it's Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, that's not only starring in it, but he writes it. So, you know, I mean, Family Guy is certainly a success, so there's a lot of hype about it. It's kind of like a Star Trek, I would say, is how would you explain it, BBM?
For me, I would say it's kind of like a Galaxy Quest. Star Trek spoof. Like, it's supposed to be like funny. I don't know if they were being serious or not. I'm expecting, like, as you said, like Seth Rogen was doing what Family Guy, and then, you know, Ted 1 and 2. So I was like, okay, if I see this TV series, I'm gonna be dying out laughing, like, and didn't even crack a smile when watching this, and I was like highly disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know in the live chat if you guys have seen any of the episodes. I believe 2 have aired so far of the Orville.
Yeah, I think
I'm
2
with
or
you.
3.
Yeah. I only watched the first one, and I wasn't particularly excited for the show to begin with. I'm not. Admittedly, I don't hate Star Trek. I like the movies, but I'm not like huge into Star Trek, and I've never even seen Galaxy Quest. But because in funny, but it was just enough not serious. Like he just like wrote a fine line of just mundane. I don't know, in my opinion, like it's not funny and it's not serious. Like I don't know. Like he didn't go for it, in my opinion. And I didn't laugh one time. I didn't know really what it was supposed to be. I don't know if Seth MacFarlane. It fairly soon. I think that Fox just kind of lets Seth do what he wants because he makes them so much. This might be a passion project or something, but I don't chat as a fan of it or not, but it's just not doing it for me. Reactions for it or anything?
I've seen like one episode just like yourself, and again, am I like a huge sci-fi nerd? Yeah, I rewatch stuff like I watched the films of Star Trek. I've seen a little bit of the TV series. I've watched like Star Wars, Doctor Who, and such. So it's like, okay, if I know he's probably gonna do a parody of it, I know what to expect. But with this one, it was like, okay, it's just like ironically we have the space genre in there, and he's like doing his own thing. You know?
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was. He didn't commit to one or the other. He should have either just went on full on parody or full on whatever the hell serious sci-fi. I guess it was just enough. It wasn't enough of either to be anything of interest, and it'll probably be canceled. So I think that I don't think anybody in the chat has seen it or is a big fan. But we really haven't got a lot this season. That's new and exciting. So that one kind of had some hype around it when it probably wouldn't have, but it's kind of lackluster right now. So the next one we're going to talk about is Inhumans, Marvel's Inhumans. Now this one hasn't premiered yet. It has had its IMAX release, and that didn't go well. And this has the actor that played Ramsay Bolton in it, and a few other notable actors, but really not is even worth mentioning. But Inhumans, let us know in the chat if you guys are fans of the comic series or if you guys are looking forward to it. It seems like it's another ABC Marvel property that they're giving us, but nobody asked for. What do you think, BBM?
Well, I think Alan in the live chat said it best. Shaking my head. Inhumans. Like, Stars is like what? It's going to be on NBC, which they have done like Marvel series before. They've done Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not a huge fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they also did Agent Carter. Now, first time we ever heard of like Inhumans, it was going to be like its own film, not the like 2-episode IMAX film. It was going to be its own film, like I believe like after the like one second.
Technical difficulties, but yeah, just jump back in whenever you're ready.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like its own film, like after, like I believe, like I'm not sure if it was going to be in between Infinity Wars or after the Infinity Wars, like part 1 or 2. And then all of a sudden they kept on like pushing the release date back, and then they decided, okay, we're going to do a TV series of it. And the moment I found, okay, who's going to like do this TV series? It's going to be NBC, the same people who did like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and like Agent Carter. I was like, okay, I'm like a bit worried now, to the point that it kind of sounds like it's going to be a fail, that you're going to make it a TV series, but I digress. But then I saw like the trailer to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm still not impressed. And I don't know if they just put the Ramsay Bolton actor, like you brought up and just mentioned, just to drive, Game of Thrones fans like, wait, I know that familiar face. Let me go see it.
Yeah. And you're correct about it was supposed to be this Inhumans was supposed to be, it was scheduled to be part of the next phase of Marvel movies. I don't know what happened, but they did downgrade it, I guess. Well, definitely if it's going to be on ABC. If it was going to go on Netflix, I wouldn't say downgrade, but they downgraded it to a series. And this is a trend that's going to keep going. Just hear me out here. It was downgraded to a ABC series, which BBM just mentioned, like Agent Carter in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In those, I think S.H.I.E.L.D. had a few seasons. Agent Carter only had 2, and then it was canceled. Yeah. Not a lot of success on ABC so far. Scott Buck is the showrunner for this. Now, you might not know that name, and you shouldn't, but are any of you guys fans of the last season of Dexter? Let me answer that for you. You like
I know Dexter, but I didn't like the final season, how it ended.
Yeah, if anybody likes the final season of Dexter, then you're more fucked up than Dexter. Scott Buck is the man behind that as well. Now he's the showrunner of this Inhumans, and yeah, I think it's Ewan Rian. I probably should have looked that up, but I'm kind of tapped into the British television too. We're talking about the Ramsay Bolton actor, and he is on some pretty weird shows currently over there as well. So I wouldn't say that he's picky about his projects, but this one definitely, I'm sure they're paying him a decent amount. And even though he doesn't seem to be the lead, he seems to be, the draw, which is another weird thing for just the way that they casted him. They're not going to put him in the lead part, then put him in there and then promote him like one. But another thing with the promotion of this is they did an IMAX release, which Game of Thrones has done this. I think they did this in season 3, and it went over fairly well. Something like Game of Thrones did it, and it went over fairly well. That should be a little bit of a warning right there, because everything Game of Thrones does is a fucking success. The problem with doing these like 2 episodes for IMAX is they're filming them, and they're not filming them completely in an IMAX format, because if you know anything about IMAX cameras, they're incredibly heavy and they are incredibly loud. They take an incredibly long time to reload. It's a big pain in the ass. You can't mount them on certain mounts on the swings and the tracks that a lot of regular like 35 millimeter and other cameras will be mounted on. So it really restricts the way they're able to film. And when you're watching it, and especially when you're watching it on television, you are going to see a big difference. So you're going to have the IMAX shot scenes, and then you're going to have the regular shot scenes. And with a show that's already having CGI troubles, that's one of the big complaints. Like Medusa's hair looks terrible. This only adds to it, because say 30% of the episodes in IMAX, the other 70% is not. So if it's already having problems with your graphic quality, and you throw the IMAX whole, hype into the mix, you're only making it worse, because you're only then setting expectations a little bit. You're like, this is what it could look like. And it looks weird on regular TV too. And then you're like, well, but this is what we have. Like the Medusa hair looked like a mess. And again, it's like it doesn't get a wide release. I don't know what the point of doing these IMAX releases are anymore for television series. They never go over well. I just think that it's like they're trying to make up for the fact that they didn't turn it into a full-fledged movie. But I don't see this going any further than a first season either. They are now saying, make sure to check out the complete series. That is the way they're pitching this, and it hasn't even aired yet. So that tells me
they should have just gave it to Sony or Fox Studios, let them do their own movie towards it. Since it was brought up in chat earlier, since it ties in with Fantastic Four and the X-Men, might as well just give it to those companies who has the license for it and do something with it.
And again, who asked for this? I mean, I don't know if there's any diehards out there, but
if it's a comic book movie, you can make money off of it regardless. Guardians of the Galaxy, perfect example. No, they weren't true diehard fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, to my knowledge, because when they announced that, people were like, "Who are the Guardians?" So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. And what's his the creator of I'm blanking on Guardian of the Galaxy's creator, which I shouldn't, but he doesn't have good things to say about Inhumans either, and that's a good comparison. Also, Iron Man. Look at the look at the staple Marvel hero. It's Iron Man. Iron Man is not and at least was not like the big Marvel even comic book figure, and they turned him into like he launched the whole damn universe. So yes, they can have success, but I think they've found that they can't have success with even popular, like, I think people asked for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least they were excited about it. People like me that, I like comic book movies, and I've been like trying to get more into the fandom, but I don't want to have to go research the Inhumans and then go watch a half-ass show that was supposed to be a movie that then they fucking released in IMAX for a little bit. It's just like, just cut your losses. Like the Netflix thing is working, ABC's not. Like, who are they making this for? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, Milt said it's Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man was heading up. So they've had success with these lesser properties because Sony owns so much of them. But it's I don't know. Like maybe instead of just like making so much stuff, like just focus more on the universe. Like maybe get Captain Marvel out sooner or something people like are actually looking forward to. And in my opinion, is there anybody in the chat that's actually looking forward to Inhumans or the Orville or anything? I don't think there is. Yeah.
It's like sometimes they actually do make a good hit for like shows that's just like not too popular, like Legion. Like I was surprised that was actually good. And that came out on FX.
Now, was that on ABC or was that on Fox?
No, that was on FX. That was on FX, Legion, which tied in with stuff from the X-Men.
Yes, but Legion is he is the son of Professor X, right? Is that the story? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's very, even for a a comic dummy like me, somebody that is. But I wouldn't consider myself an expert by any means. I'm excited about that because I know who the fuck Professor X is, and I might not know who I don't know the character's name who plays Legion. I'm aware of him, but when I saw that show and then I just read one paragraph about it and I found the backstory, that drew me in. So that makes sense because he's connected. That's very interesting. In Humans, I guess there's a teleporting dog, and then you got Ramsay Snow. In Medusa and then you got Medusa with a wig. So yeah, her, even if that actress, even if her hair was supposed to be like not nothing to do with Medusa, let's just say that was just supposed to be she had some other power, something to do with her hair, that wig still looks like shit. So how are you gonna fuck that up? Like how are you gonna do that? Yeah, I'm not too excited for the fall season. I know you have not seen The Deuce yet.
No.
Broke Black. We're going to talk about it next week. But for anybody that's out there looking for shows to watch right now in between, I know a lot of you guys probably like Vikings and The Walking Dead. Go check out the first episode on HBO Go of The Deuce. It's got James Franco. It's got Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's excellent. It's an excellent show.
I think like coming attractions to it ever like before Game of Thrones start. They would always like show The Deuce. So I was like, what is this?
It's a really interesting show. I think it's gonna because vinyl failed and they need to fill that void, and they need to fill voids more than ever over there. So yeah, I would just say check that out. And speaking of HBO, I think that we are going to bring in our specialist right now because we're going to actually talk about a topic that we have some good stuff to say about. Game of Thrones. We're going to talk about the prequels. We have a special segment guest. Member of Focalizer here, and probably the smartest guy about A Song of Ice and Fire I know. Bran the Builder, welcome. Are you ready there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. You're
the best. Yeah. If anybody from the chat is part of one of the threads here and saw the snake picture earlier, can you just tell me what happened there really quick, Bran? You seemed to catch a rattlesnake with your bare hands earlier, and then you released it.
It wasn't today. It wasn't today, but a couple months ago, a friend of mine about stepped on a pygmy rattler, and I'm a very much of an activist where when it comes to snakes, I'd rather catch them and release them than somebody kill them. And so
yeah, absolutely. Snakes, they're just great things. Never been depicted in a bad way. So,
No,
probably love the devil. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay. That's pretty badass. But what we're going to be talking about is the Game of Thrones prequels, which I'm sure everybody can get excited about, and I'm sure HBO is counting on everybody to get excited about because D&D are running so fast out the door that there's going to be literally no time, I think, in between these, at least the first prequel, because there's no way HBO would allow that to happen. I've never seen such a successful series be rushed at the end. They usually milk things. But so we just got announced that we got Cogman in, who is a writer on the first actual series that's on right now, and he's moved up to producer, and that puts it to a total of 5 in production. Do you want to kind of lay this out for us, Bran the Builder, and what we're looking at right now?
Well, I was looking up who we got going on here, and we got the Max Borenstein, Jane Goldman, Brian Helgeland, or however you pronounce it, and Carly Ray. And I was just looking at what they've done before, and you got Kong Skull Island for Max. Jane Goldman had Woman in Black, Kick Ass, and the Kingsman. I guess I don't know if she's involved in the second one or not yet. Then Brian, he's involved in like everything. He's been involved in a lot, so I'm thinking he'll get probably the most in-depth. His will be the big thing if they go with it. It'll be a big event for sure, because I mean he's been involved in the Freddy Kruegers, Assassins, Conspiracy Theory, Postman, Payback. I mean, A Knight's Tale, which gives him a lot of medieval background too there. Man on Fire. He's just everything. He's into everything. And then Carly, she was into the Mad Men and Leftovers. I know you know about the Mad Men. I don't.
Yeah, I really like the car. I'm a big Mad Men fan, and I've heard The Leftovers is good. Carly is one of the ones that's teamed up with George too, and I really think that it's pretty clear if you look at what these people. I think somebody's got some feedback coming. I think to you, Bran, scratchy.
Oh. Hold on 1 second.
If you look at what they've done, you can kind of tell what you're going to get from. You're going to get the more. This is why I predicted Dunk and Egg, because it just seemed like a more character-based project that was really suited for Harley, especially, and George. But they'll probably still do something similar. They're going to do something that's more contained, something that's more grounded, no CGI, or at least no dragons, because they put CGI in everything now. So no dragons or anything like that. And then you have like the people that have been involved with Godzilla and Kong Island. Like you can just,
right.
Like, so I'm thinking, or do you think for sure at some point we're going to get Dance? Is it pretty much you can just count on it?
It's either going to be Dance or Valyria, the rise and maybe even the fall. I guess you could go with maybe like White Walker's origin story, but we don't get what we get from the books there, so I don't think they will go that route. They're not portraying them as having a backstory in the show, so I don't think they'll go that route. We could get maybe the First Men, invasion, but even then, I don't think that's going to be very high on the list. Valyria is something everybody knows about. Even just casual show watchers will heard of Valyria and the Doom, and that's where the dragons originated, basically.
Yeah, and they just released that that animated DVD extra, and a lot of people, like a lot of YouTube channels, were announcing that like it was like an actual like trailer for a announced project, but it's not. It's not. It's just a DVD lore, just like the rest of them, and it's animated. But I think that they might be testing, testing the waters with us to see how we're reacting to that. Do you think that they would ever do a fully animated series?
Well, it wouldn't be a bad route to go, because then they could cover everything, the more magical aspects, but I don't think HBO will. No, I don't think HBO will go that route. I think they're going to try to stick with the live action and that format.
Well, the big thing that I've noticed is I think that, and Milt, thank you again, Milt, for moderating out there. Me and him were talking actually last night about how Game of Thrones, and this is why, and I get real mad at other YouTubers when they talked about, like, I was wrong too. I held up in my video the dunk and egg. I'm like, you're gonna get dance and dunk with it and dunk and egg, because I was looking at the writers, looking at the teams. Cogman wasn't in at this point, but I still would have predicted the same thing. And George shot down dunk and egg. But everybody's saying Robert's Rebellion. Let me tell you something. That wants Robert's Rebellion, you would fucking hate it. You think you want it, but you don't. Here's the thing. A lot of the stuff with A Song of Ice and Fire that we are so like hype about, I hate using that word, are, you know, that we are imaginative about, you know, like that we actually think about, like, and obsess over, are the events that happened before, right? The stuff that we don't see. And that's something to be said. You know, it's like that whole don't meet your hero thing. Better in your head, you build them up to be bigger and better. Like the Tower of Joy, for example. When we got that, a lot of people are really disappointed. Another aspect of Robert's Rebellion that wouldn't work is you would either need to recast it completely, or you can't just keep a few people. You either need to recast completely, or you need to actually keep your whole cast, which there's no way they retain, and it just would not work. And all these things like the Battle of the Trident, yeah, we all want to see them, but trust me, it's better in our heads. And George does that on purpose. He's so good at building worlds and building lore, and he's a great storyteller too, but his slows. And what I'm getting to here is Milt brought up some interesting situations about the first wildling invasion failed with the Night's Watch. I brought up the Civil War that they had. Do you think that we could get like some stuff that we've never heard of before? Like, I think he might steer clear of the lore, is my point, because again, and I know a lot of people are, yo, we'd love Robert's Rebellion. No, you wouldn't, because you'd be like, oh, that's not a good Ned. That's not a good Cersei. That's not a good, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because look, you're already not happy with the adaptation from the books. Yeah. So now you're adapting the books to a show and then adapting that show to another one. So yeah, you'd have issues. Everybody would be bitching. I think for that reason, they could steer clear.
Yeah. Well, Milt brought up a good point about if they did do the Valyria, it would be a lot like Rome, because, you know, that's pretty much the basis of Valyria. So yeah, I think Dance of Dragons just about guaranteed with the CGI aspect one. And as far as something we haven't heard of, I don't know that he would go that route, only because we really don't know anything about it. I mean, unless there's like, I mean, it would have to have some basis, you know, at least like maybe the Great Empire, for example, where we know a little bit, but we really have no idea what happened. You know, we can just assume we know and guess here and guess there. He might go that route, but I don't think it would be something completely new, like a colony based in Cytherios. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, see, I kind of disagree, because I think that they've kind of learned, hopefully, about how well it goes when you adapt things that people love so much. I think, yeah, we're going to get Dance, but I think they could easily just do something based over in Essos. Like, look at the Telltale games. Look at the stories they tell. They just did that during a time that people knew, but they just made a completely different story. I mean, if you take this book behind me, the World of Ice and Fire, and just flipped any page, I mean, you could find a time period and set a story that maybe it happens right before the Doom or something like that. But I think we could get some like surprising stuff, some things that like aren't anything that we could reference. You know, we could, like, people like you could go to the time, like, you know, that part of Essos or whatever, but the casual fan might not know as much, you know.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know how well that would play out, because we don't know. I mean, maybe if there were events that we knew playing out at the same time, and it, you know, you're feeling the repercussions, but it's something totally different. Yeah, I guess I could see that.
In BBM, I want to hear your opinion on this. You know, to be fair though, the casual fan doesn't know about the Doom of Valyria. We do.
Only like during like passes of time that they were like, oh, the Doom of Valyria. They bring it up, but it's interesting if they actually do explore it. Also, like Robert's Rebellion, it's like, for me, I still enjoy watching Robert's Rebellion, even though like people like Milt was like, it would be like overplayed. We kind of know what happens, Like, has there ever been like a movie or a show that we already like know the events of it, but it's still good to watch it? Like Star Wars, we knew what happened in the prequels, we knew what happened in Rogue One, but just showing us how it played out, it's still enjoyable.
So you think that Robert's Rebellion would still be enjoyable, BBM?
Yeah, it'll still be enjoyable. So as far as it's Game of Thrones, we're gonna love it anyway. But so far, like we truly haven't like seen it played out even in the show, and I'm not sure in the books how
One of the major
far
things,
they've done it yet.
sorry, BBM, sorry. One of the major things is the mystery behind it. You know, we don't know what to expect with the Game of Thrones. You know, that's why Ned's death and the Red Wedding were so impactful, because we didn't know. And Martin said we'll know all the key events of Robert's Rebellion by the end of the book, or by the end of the series. And at this point, you know, we know Lyanna and Rhaegar were married. We know Jon's Targaryen. We know pretty much all the major points.
No. That's not that. He is a Dane still. All right. I'm going with that theory. I don't believe anything that's right in front of me. I don't
Even
care.
then, it's like you guys in the final books we're going to find out. But like, when is Winds of Winter coming out? We don't know.
No, we don't.
Is it supposed to come out what, at the end of season 8? Is it supposed to come out at the end of the fifth prequel show? Or like, we don't know. So if right now it's just empty promises by saying we're going to get it
from the show. I mean, we know like Lyanna and Rhaegar. We know Jon's supposed to be a Targaryen and king. We know.
Yeah, but there's still like a little bit of stuff like, okay, did Lyanna ever know about the war and everything? It's like, did she just voluntarily go with everything?
But I think, Bran, what you're bringing up is, and I agree, is the broad, just kind of the broad point of.
Yeah, just the broad stroke, not like the detail.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Martin said. We'll know all the key events that played into it. The major influences.
But I think there is something left. There's something to be said for leaving some stuff up in the air and leaving it for us to imagine, because it's always disappointing. The Tower of Joy. I mean, yeah, it was kind of cool, but they should have gave him a fucking great sword, or at least not some dual wielding. But I think we could be surprised. I think they're gonna do something that's gonna. I think they kind of have to do Dance or Valyria. If I was gonna bet, and I like to gamble, like a large amount of money, it'd be really hard for me. I mean, I would guarantee you're gonna get Valyria or Dance at least. Other things might be so obscure that.
I would agree with probably. I mean, I would lean more towards the Dance than Valyria, but Valyria is still the option there, because that would be a lot of CGI. I mean, everything would pretty much be CGI in it. If they went animated, they would go animated there.
And I think that it makes sense that if you look at these teams again, that we'll probably get a real grounded series that's character based almost right away. And in that time, then 2 or 3 seasons, and then like 2 years after, season 8 airs its finale, they'll probably have the big CGI project up, and they'll probably do it like only like a season or 2 seasons, because of the cost. But I don't know. None of these people are animators, so probably cross off animation completely. But I did think it was interesting that they gave us that.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking at Jane there. A lot of hers are like a group of people, like the X-Men First Class, in their heroes kind of stuff. I was thinking that might run into like maybe the first long night, with like the last hero and the formation of the Night's Watch and something like that. She's real supernatural fantasy. Maybe even Blood Racer.
For Night's Watch lore. I think that we could definitely see like some obscure Night's Watch stuff, and I think it'd be really good. And there's a few different options, but
I'm leaning towards Blackfire Rebellion with Cogman. The Blackfire Rebellion just means either him or Brian. They may give it to Brian just because he is so experienced, and that will. I mean, because we didn't get Aegon. That's another reason why I'm thinking Cogman, because he is the lore master of D&D, of A Song of Ice and Fire. He does all the animated stuff. Actually, he does do the animated stuff. He oversees it anyway, and you know he's been involved in that lore. And Martin said, you know, he's supposed to know as much as him and Elio, and because we didn't get Aegon in the series, they may go and do the Blackfire Rebellion. He may go back and do it because he is so into the lore.
So which Blackfire Rebellion do you think we would get? Because we got. I don't think we'd ever do the because that's got too many characters. It's got the Blackfish. It's got Tywin. Right. You know, that's complex.
We won't have any characters now. So, I mean, that appear in the A Song of Ice or the Game of Thrones, that won't be involved in any of these series. So it would have to be one of the first three, you know.
Probably because the first one is the formation of we see the formation of the Golden Company in the first one, right?
Right. Yes, and you get the Targaryens, you get the split over the throne, you get Aegon the Fourth. Yeah, I could see that one being played out with either Brian or Brian, one of the Brians.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that like I think that there's things like I said, like they're testing waters. Like even though that was an animation, that's just a cheap way to do it. They want to kind of like plant some seeds in our heads, and see the reaction about Valeria. And also, it's kind of interesting that they're throwing. I don't believe they're throwing the Golden Company in for fan service because they've shown they don't really give a shit about the book readers. So I think that maybe a reason they're throwing it in because they're gonna than for everybody to see the actual origins of the Golden Company if they actually saw it in the first series, you know, because then for sure you're a casual fan, because I think we overestimate, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some people don't analyze this like we do. That's fine. They go play softball. They go do whatever. You know what I mean? But I think we can overestimate what people would know about the lore, you know, like we take it as everybody even knows about the Dance of the Dragons. Yeah, I was in one of the lore videos, but yeah, you know, there are people
they've associated the area with dragons. That's the way I saw it, and that's why I would think the CGI would be involved there.
Yeah, I agree. Anything on that, BBM?
All I'm saying is that once they bring in these series, hopefully they're enjoyable. And that if they're smart, have one of them come out in between this 2-year gap for season 8. Yeah. And not afterwards, but do something like that.
They're not gonna do that though. They've announced earliest is like 220. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think that we'll have something almost immediately after.
I'd say a year after, like just keep it running like almost a series. The following year they'll release one of the easier ones that not too in depth, and I would almost say the Cogman one, the Blackfire Rebellion, if that's it. Whoever does the one that's going to be mostly related will probably be pretty. It's either going to be really early or the very last, one of the two. I don't really have a definite on which I feel, because I haven't thought about it too much.
Well, yeah, because we've got 5 projects. You know, essentially they're doing spec scripts. So in no way does this mean we're going to get 5 series. Do I think we could have Game of Thrones for the rest of our life? Like we'll have Star Wars for the rest of our life? Yeah, because it makes money. I think that's a possibility. I don't think that's even a good thing though. I think that, you know, it kind of gets a little bit jaded, but you know, that's subjective. So I think it's really interesting. What really quick, Bran, what's the most obscure time that you'd like to see? I know you're a big like Iron Islands guy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the Great King period, but I probably would really want to see the Great Empire, the very beginning, the Bloodstone Emperor, the Amethyst Empress, the God on Earth, Lion and Night. I'd like to see that, and how it breaks up, forms ET, and how everything else goes.
Yeah,
I just want the very beginning, the origins.
Yeah, well, I'm going back to school for learning some animation. So I think the best chance of that is maybe we'll write it and animate it and put it on YouTube.
All right, let's do
it. Be really shitty.
Yeah. So.
Well, I appreciate it for you coming on. Are you going to stick around, or do you got a jet?
I can hang out for a little bit.
All right. We want to, unless BBM has anything else to say about the prequels. Again, everybody, this is going to be a weekly thing. This is something that we were almost not going to do until next weekend. We're going to try to format and smooth out as we go, but we're going to be trying to cover a number of different topics and kind of get it to a point where it's real polished and crisp. So thank you for sticking around for the first episode, the pilot. So the whole idea is to have people like Bran is, like I said, probably the best guy for A Song of Ice and Fire. Lore and information that we can get, but we're going to be having other people on for just single segments and stuff like that for their specialty. We're going to have Milt in a few weeks coming on, and we're going to be talking like the actual geology and whatnot of A Song of Ice and Fire. So
I wanted to touch on one thing there that Sword said. Aegon's Conquest would probably be another good one for like not Cogman, but the other Brian, because he is the most experienced and stuff, like I said. So I think that would be a good choice for him, showing how Aegon came over, and there's a lot of material to it.
I just think, do you think that's just too close to Dany's story now, though?
Not really, because he's taking all these little hostile nations basically and forming them into one. She kind of does that somewhat in Essos, but this is the Westeros we know. This is what we've come to learn. This is how the beginning for most people, like the show watchers. That's the lore they know, and that very well could be the first series that we get right after.
Gotcha.
To tie up
and I think we also probably need to consider that, as we all know, as we get older, time goes by pretty quick, and if they have 5 projects potentially in development, that it could easily be, things will be different 10 years from now. 2 series from now, we could be looking at 7 to 10 years from now and doing things that are closer to, the first series will be something that you can bring to the table a little bit easier, because you'll literally have a whole new generation of people watching, so it'll be interesting.
Definitely.
So I appreciate it. You're going to stick around. You guys are going to school me, especially BBM, on a little bit of Gotham, because that is a series that people seem to be liking, and a series that has stuck around for a little bit. And there has been a lot of misfires on at least your like classic cable channels, which are NBC, ABC, Fox, and whatnot. You want to take the lead on that, BBM?
Yeah, for starters, hop back on Gotham. My opinion has become better than Arrow, better than Legends of Tomorrow, 10 times better than Supergirl. Flash is good, but near like the season finale, it's still very predictable. They follow the same tropes, but with Gotham, it's actually good. They don't even like focus that much on Bruce. It's basically on everyone. That's why they just named the show Gotham. You can debate it's like more of a Jim Gordon detective type story, but they still focus on other characters as well.
Gotcha. So it's like an origin story of Gordon in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like you can basically see it's more tailored to surrounding of James Gordon.
Now, I watched the first 6 episodes of this when it first aired, and it did seem like they were taking the young Bruce Wayne in a direction of him at least developing detective skills. Batman is a detective. Is that something that they stayed true to, or what's it like now in the 4th season?
And with the 4th season now, it's kind of like the year 01, where he's kind of like donning the mask in a certain sense of Batman, because now he's like fighting and like doing a little bit of detective work a little bit more, and he does like the appears out of nowhere, talks to Jim, and then as Jim turns around and like looks back at him, he like disappears, and like these little nods to Batman. And it was like, I believe it was starting like more in season 2, where he got more stronger, where he took more of a detective role. at the same time still appearing as the figure of Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy there.
Definitely.
But
the first season was laid, Bruce didn't play much a role at all. I mean, he was kind of the scared kid, and you see him starting to make that transformation. How shoot, the butler, I can't remember his
Alfred,
name.
Alfred,
yeah, how Alfred is shaping and molding him. I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
So true.
Because Alfred is like an MI5 agent or something, isn't he? Like he has some type of British special forces, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Even though occasionally he does get his ass whooped, he can still like held himself. Against like the other like criminals or whatever that may just like invade the mansion or whatever. And it does seem like this show I'm not sure like when the show plans on ending, but it'll probably be the same thing like Smallville, like how they did like the Superman origins and it just ended with him donning the cave whatever and saying, yeah, I am Superman. And with this show, it seems like it's just like leading us up to that point that I won't be surprised if they do like a time skip where, Bruce is like an actual, like an adult. And then it's going to be just ending with him donning, the cape and everything. So far, we kind of see him like with right now, like a hoodie and like a ski mask, whatever. And from what trailers, we can see that he might actually get some type of suit, but it has like no similarity whatsoever to the Batman suit that we know and love.
Yeah. It looks like this might be the last season as far as research I've done for it. The numbers are steady on it. Like I said, a lot of these shows, except for stuff like The Blacklist and stuff like that, are having issues. Netflix is kind of killing them. But it looks like this could come to an end. Is it at a spot where you could? I see they're really focusing on the Penguin. Is that like the main villain of this, or what's going on?
The main villain, and like one of my favorite characters is like Penguin,
yes,
and then the Riddler. Those are like the main villains. The point that you kind of know that they're not going to kill them all. Period, because like they're.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you can.
I was going to say they're excellent people to portray those two. Excellent choices.
Because the Riddler is that enigma. He's like the CSI type guy, the whatever,
yes.
the DNA guy.
Yeah,
at the
Enigma.
right?
Yeah, he starts out at CSI or like specialists in the police department, and from then he just begins to like branch out and becomes like the Riddler, like dons like the name possibly in season 3. But till then, it's like a slow build up towards it.
Yeah, he just
in this also. Go ahead.
We're just watching him using riddles as his social anxiety, basically. He falls back to the riddles because he's not comfortable in a normal functioning society. I liked how they portrayed that.
So he ends up becoming like a murderer. They should just give him some Xanax.
He needs more than that. It's a split personality almost.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
it becomes like triggered. It becomes like triggered. I believe it was like when he began to like try not to like spoil that much of it, but it's like after he forms like a relationship with someone, it's like triggered. Yeah. And ever since then, he just like says, you know what? I know who I am now, and he becomes the Riddler. Period. He doesn't want to like just mask it or hide or take medicine anymore. He's just, okay, this is who I am. Period.
Well, I like that. I like that. I just want to sorry for interrupting and continue back on, but I like that. He just becomes who he is. He doesn't fight it with like that's kind of like a commentary on the social situation, kind of like right now, with just shoving pills down people's throats. So he embraces it for whatever it is. That's kind of cool. That makes me want to see it.
It does that with all the villains. It's like at one point they don't want to embrace the dark side, but eventually it's like, this is who I am. Period. And so like Mel bringing it up earlier, like, is there like a Joker type character? Yes, but he doesn't call himself the Joker. They still call him by his like birth name, Jerome Vasquez. And the way the show is doing it, they're saying like, okay, this may be like our Joker, but this is like truly the Joker. It's like whatever he does might just end up like down the line influencing the Joker period. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's very interesting. And this one is
Yeah,
like
and
better than
that's
Jared Leto by far.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segues us into the Joker origin story that's now been announced. Because it seems like Gotham's done a pretty good job. I guess the only other question just on Gotham I'd like to ask really quick is, do you think it would have been better on Netflix as a more grittier series?
No, it's like with how they're doing it on Fox, it's like it's not too watered down. You can see people being shot, people getting their hands cut off, and decapitation. So it's not completely watered down to the point it's like, really, why am I like watching this anymore?
Totally agree. It doesn't. I mean, it's doing fine as it is. You can watch it at any age level. I mean, yeah, there is some grittier parts, but at the same time, you get a good story with it. It's fine where it's at. It doesn't necessarily need more gore and need more action.
Yeah, it seems like people like it, and it seems like it's doing like the origin of the city, and like you said, like I've seen a clip of that Joker kid, whatever his name is, and I like how you said that they left it like ambiguous, and I know that in the comics there's like 3 different like kind of lore, like official canon stories like for the Joker, but nobody's really completely sure, and that's the whole point of the Joker. Is one of his defining character traits is that we don't know why he is like he is, like the quote in Dark Knight Returns from Alfred, there's world burn. So this announcement, let me just lay it out really quick. It makes me mad on so many levels because it's got a great team. It's got not directing. There's a big difference. He has produced some stuff that's pretty good, but he's also produced shit that sucks. 2 great people. Todd Phillips, he did The Hangover, and then Scott Silver, who did 8 Mile and some other stuff. So I like this team. Again, who asked for this is my question.
Who asked for it? The fans did. Ever since Suicide Squad, Joker, having people in my eyes, I really cared less about the Joker, Jared Leto's performance of it. But ever since then, it's like people been wanting more Joker, especially after the Heath Ledger situation. It's like, could anyone even like top him anymore? So it's like, we know that the fans wanted to see Joker, and you can see that in the Suicide Squad trailers. It's like the way how it was like crafted, it tailored more to the Joker as if he was the big bad. Knowing that I don't even like know that much of Suicide Squad, but seeing a little bit of animated series and we pick up books and stuff, Joker was like never the big villain. So you can just see like the fans just love Joker so much, they said, you know what, let's make a spinoff of it. But here's the thing. You want to make a spinoff to it, and it's not going to be tied in with the DC Extended Universe. And that's where I believe they're going to fail with that.
See, I disagree completely because, yes, do we want a Joker that doesn't suck? Yes, but nobody wants a Joker origin story. If anything, in what you said is everybody already compares people to Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson. So they're really fucking Jared Leto now. And I'm not a fan of Jared Leto, but he's already got so much to contend with that I don't know what the studio's thinking, because now they are potentially with this team, which again, Scorsese could be hit or miss. He's a producer. This is not going to be Raging Bull. This is not going to be Casino. But the writers are good. This could potentially be a really good Joker. So what does that do to Jared Leto? That puts another person for him to have to live up to. And it's fine that if it would have been, this would still screw Jared Leto. But again, I don't care for him because they're continuing on with Leto. With the Suicide, and then he's going to have his own movie as well.
2 more but along with the Suicide Squad 2, and then I believe is what Gotham Sirens. That's going to be with the Harley Quinn spinoff as well. So
yeah,
they
have a depiction of the character right now that isn't overwhelmingly liked. If anything, he's pretty much hated. So they're throwing another. It's like the business side of this has just totally disregarded the creative side because they know they can make money with this. And it's like, what makes me so mad is yes, no, because I stick by what I said. Nobody asked for a Joker origin movie. I'm not even a huge comic book fan, and I really like that there's no rhyme or reason for it, and the few stories you get are ambiguous, and you don't know if they're true or not. If they handle this in a way that they set in stone why he's the way he is, that's gonna fuck up the character. You know what I mean? I can't imagine that comic book fans aren't going to be upset about that. But if you want to disregard Leto in general, and they would have done just like a different standalone Joker movie, that's fine, because things that are outside of the DCEU, in my opinion, that's great. The Dark Knight. I mean, let's remember that, Warner Brothers was making the best, arguably still the best comic book movies far before Marvel. So, now they've got another good team on it. And, maybe they can't get this quality of writers for the DCEU, but they're able to obtain them if it's separate. So that's what I'm saying. The business side seems like they're just not caring about the creative side, because now Leto's going to have potentially, like I said, another great Joker to compete with. And I think it's a big, big issue to give him an origin. I just think, I don't know. It's like his biggest like character trait is that he doesn't have one.
If they're going to do this origin for the Joker, do something like The Killing Joke or Under the Red Hood. Do something like that. Hopefully that's just saying that, we're going to do a Joker origin, whatever. I think that's just like a front for something like they're really going to plan out. But if they do it, all right, just do like one of those two projects. Like I've seen like the recent animated film version of it. It was terrible. But if they do Under the Red Hood, that could be great. Just make sure it's rated R. I don't care what you do. At the end of the day, make it rated R. Because with the Joker, that's how it should be. If you can do a PG-13, just don't make it like the Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad, that was really meant to be rated R. And I don't know if they just did that so they can get kids to see it. Well, I don't know. But even at the end of the day, kids are still going to see it. Because like with Deadpool, sidetrack there, it's like that was rated R and kids still end up seeing that film regardless of it all.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Jared
come on.
Leto, you brought up a good point, because now he has to, like, if they're going to do the solo, he has to then live up to this solo Joker as well. And from what we saw him in Suicide Squad, as many people are constantly criticizing him, okay, you can criticize him on his like look with the tattoos, the grill and stuff, okay, the cringiness. But at the same time, it's like I really can't say that he was a bad Joker, because he was really just a tool for them hyping up Harley Quinn and her origins. To the point I really can't say he was either good or bad.
Completely agree there. He wasn't really even a character in Suicide Squad. He was just a tool, like you said, to hype up Harley Quinn.
They definitely fucked Leto on that. I mean, and the one thing to be said is, again, and this is only going to further complicate this, everybody's complaining. I didn't like the look, and I didn't like his growling that he was doing. But again, he can't act like Ledger. He can't act like Nicholson. You know what I mean? He's got so many things that he can't do that he has to make it his own. And now they're sticking another aspect in there. You know what I mean? So it's like, it kind of is only leaving him with garbage. Because he is a good actor. I mean, but he's a weird character actor. Somebody that has some acting in my background, I find that kind of odd. People that go like full characters, kind of weird. It's understandable to be in the mindset, but I mean, he was sending like used condoms and like slaughtered pigs to people on the set, and they did not fucking appreciate it. They're like, listen, they took 6 weeks to write this fucking movie. It's garbage. Stop being like sending me used condoms and like getting all into character for something that you'll be in 5 minutes of. They definitely fucked him, and they're going to give him a chance to redeem himself, but it's already so hard to do, like you said, because of Ledger, and then they're adding more to it. So no matter what, it's going to be difficult. So it's like, if anything, they should just fucking get rid of him. That's what I would do. If I was Leto,
the way that they approached Jared Leto, I don't know if he said or what other actors said, it's like they offered him a deal that was he was supposed to either possibly be the main villain or even have a major part in Suicide Squad than he originally did. And then the way how they cut the film down, it was like so much of his scenes were cut, they basically make a Joker movie just from that alone. So it's like, okay, so again, what was the point of it all? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got screwed. And what's his name? He's the guy that did Training Day that did that. It was 6 weeks, if not less, that he wrote that in, and it shows. But to be fair, movies usually minimum take 6 months to write. Some take up to 3 years. If George were to write one, it would take like 80. You know what I mean? So 6 weeks is not ample time. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I see this not having anything positive, and it kind of makes me mad that this team can't be put on a project that isn't like contradictory. You know what I mean? It's a project that causes problems, like not only for them but for us. So it's like, why can't we get Scorsese and Todd Phillips and Scott Silver on the Batman movie? Why do we get this awesome team for a movie that nobody asked for?
Because that was a good Ben Affleck Batman. In my opinion, he was a good Batman. Was he a good Batman,
Absolutely
but not a good
Batman.
Bruce Wayne? He wasn't like, if they ever do a true Batman movie, get 2 different actors. You can get one actor who plays Bruce and one actor who can play Batman. Since like every time it goes into like the Batman suit and whatever, it's like he's not even using like the same voice, whatever. If you need to do something with the chin, you got CGI for that. Perfect. But it's like, at that I thought that wasn't it. Ben Affleck was supposed to be like directing it, but then like he wasn't no more. So it's like, what, they lost faith in him now? But
No. He lost faith. He wasn't happy with the script, so he backed out. And he was supposed to write the script, then he backed out. So
It was taking too long.
that's what happened. Yep.
It was taking too long too.
Yes. Yep. And he backed out.
and that's what worries me, because if the point where the actor even plays him, Batman, it's like looking at it, it's like, wait, what is this? And he's worried about it. It throws so much red flags. Like, if this person doesn't like it, then what's up?
Yeah, I mean, there's red flags all over it all. I guess that Justice League just I had a film, a screening, I mean, and it's obviously not completely finished, but it's getting a lot of the people that saw it broke the embargo, and we're talking about it, and it was all positive. And Whedon now, you know, they brought in Josh Whedon after Snyder's had to take some time off. I don't like Snyder. I think he does like really shitty work. I hate the way his movies look. I think he ruins a lot of things and keeps getting work, and I don't get it. But it is sad. His daughter killed herself. So he took some family time. Whedon came in, you know, from person that did the first Avengers, and he now has a writing credit on the movie. He was supposed to just do reshoots, and they get a writing credit on a major motion picture. You need to at least write 30% of the script. That's more than reshoots. So I think that, I mean, those are two different tones coming at you. Think first Avengers, and then think Batman versus Superman. Just like even like the way the aesthetics. So it's going to be interesting.
People even like Batman versus Superman the most. So it's like, I understand loved Batman versus Superman except for two things, but it's like DC with their films, it's like, well, like Standard Universe films, it's like, it's not good. It's just not, and I don't know, they're just like rushing and trying to like compete with Marvel, but it's not working out.
Everything doesn't need to be a universe. You know, I mean, look at that Mummy movie. They're trying to make fucking like a universe.
I didn't even
out
bother
of that.
looking at the Mummy movie. I saw the, what was it? I'm not sure. No, is the King Kong and Godzilla supposed to be in that universe as well, or that's something else?
No, it's the, I forget. Bran might know. I don't know. It's I forget that all the properties they own, but I think they own Dracula. I think they own
Wolfman.
Wolfman. Yeah, like
now.
Mr. Hyde, because I didn't see the movie either because I knew it was hot garbage, but Russell Crowe is going to be playing that. He's in this, evidently. It's like this monsters universe they're trying to launch. It's like, shut the fuck up. Stop, make a movie that works.
Yeah, and
Like,
they very well could be making a Stephen King universe.
Yeah, it looks like that too. With what was it, the Dark Tower and It, where they like connections with each other.
From what, yeah, they all do. They all connect. If the novels, they have like a, it's almost like an alternate world that they all connect to, and like I think I heard something about Carrie being remade.
They already did a remake of Carrie. Like,
oh yeah,
we do a third one now.
I don't know. I don't know if they. What's the car one?
Believe it.
Shit.
That makes sense. And I guarantee there's more than 3 already made. It's like a B
Yeah.
movie.
What's the car one that he wrote?
Oh, is that the one where the car kills people?
Yeah, what is that called?
I don't know. I know the Dark Tower didn't do well.
I refused to watch that because that was such a good book. I knew they were gonna screw it up.
But luckily, it was actually a success, and that surprised me.
Yeah, and that's a good candidate for the Joker, Billy Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's a great pick. He's the right if they're gonna do it. Is it Christine? No.
Yes, thank you.
From
Christine.
Or it's Christine. Okay, I don't know. What was I saying? I think that with setting up these universes, that it's almost like they spend so much time setting the table and they never serve dinner. Like every movie is just like is made to like set up something else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like now Marvel, because even Marvel, I think fell prey to it. I mean, they've done a really good job. I'll admit it. But some other movies, just kind of fall flat. 'Cause you're like, damn, this movie's just setting up, Infinity War. You know it. But with
that was like
the
their
Captain
plan from the
America
beginning, though, and they did great. They're like, okay, we want to do the Infinity War, so we got to set this universe up, and they took their time with it. It was like no rushing or anything. If anything, a little minor rush when they finally were able to do like Spider-Man. Then they had to like put Spider-Man in, and they had to like move Black Panther down. I think Thor Ragnarok has been like moved down as well, but it was still okay and it fit in perfectly. They didn't just like shoehorn Spider-Man and then his like Spider-Man Homecoming. It all fell within the timeline perfectly. But now with DC,
I think
I don't know. And then
I think Iron Man suffered for it, but you're right. Everything else did good, and I think that the Captain Americas really they really helped it along as well because those were like epic movies in between the setup. But I think Iron Man probably suffered the most.
With Iron Man, it was like for me, it was like only one good film with Iron Man. Like second and third was garbage.
Yeah. But I mean, not everything needs to be a universe. Just write a movie. You know what I mean? It's just that's if they write a good movie, decide to like make a universe out of it. That's cool. Don't write it with that in mind. I mean, everything like there's so many things that are going to be universes now. I heard, what was it? It was I think they before Ghostbusters like did the worst that a movie's done in like 20 years. That was supposed to be like a universe. So it's getting a little silly. Any final thoughts, guys?
If they're gonna do this Joker, I know they said they're gonna look for a younger actor. Just get the actor who does Jerome Vasquez in Gotham, get him on it, and do either Killing Joke or Under the Red Hood.
I would like Under the Red Hood personally, but just because the Killing Joke's been portrayed more than once, and the Red Hood ties in,
Hmm. Just be getting in. Continue.
The Red Hood is like a society, isn't it? It's like the Owls.
Well, with the Red Hood, it's like not really. It's just like a criminal gang, and their leader wears this like red hood, And when it came to like the Joker, it was like I think it was like a chemical plant where they were robbing, and they were like, okay, because our gang is under the red hood, you have to like wear the outfit, whatever, and helping us out. And then Batman came in, and he basically was like fighting the Joker, and then he just like fell into that chemicals, and he emerged as the Joker.
Yeah, so I would like that story. Over.
So if they want to do a Joker origin, whatever, do something like that. Just like do it like that. Just like quickly do like a cool origin that we can like follow just with this movie, and that's it.
That's more of an origin story than the Killing Joke too.
Actually, like with it was both though. Both will actually do well because with the Killing Joke, it's about one bad day, and we can explain, okay, what was the bad day with the Joker? That'll be the origin story, and then it's just him like now trying to make sure Batman does the same. Or you could still argue that the Batman had his bad day, which was his parents being shot down at, it was a crime alley. And he was then triggered to become this Batman guy. Because it's not sanely correct that you're dressing up as a bat trying to fight crime. So
yeah, it's the whole idea that you're one bad day away from, there's only like one bad day away from, being the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Why I kind of fucked up where Batman killed 1 million people, because the whole point is like he doesn't do that, and the Joker's always trying to get him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in that's why the Dark Knight was so good, is because like that last scene where he's dangling him over the edge, but he doesn't let him die, and like it's almost like the Joker would have let him die actually, if he could feel anything. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like that was the whole point. He's just trying to get him to, because he turned Harvey, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I just think it's a great group of people working on a project that's just got a lot of complications, and I would be pissed if I was Jared Leto. I'll tell you that. I'd be fucking pissed.
He's already pissed, even though he never saw his own movie, and he's saying like, oh, I felt cheated. So it's like, did you see it though? No, but I've heard what people are saying. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is what it is. But any final thoughts on anything, guys?
No, I think I've got mine covered pretty much.
BBM?
Yeah, pretty covered there.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. Like I said, next week we will have a more fleshed out show. Me and BBM just threw this together late last night. We were going to postpone it, but we'll have a series of topics that's a little bit more fleshed out. And anytime we're talking about Game of Thrones or anything else that Bran is a we'll of course have him on and stuff like that. Like I said, we're gonna have Milt on in a few weeks, and we're gonna have a few other people. But yeah, if you guys have any topics that you guys would like to talk about, if you'd like to have us look into, let us know. Trying to keep these to an hour to an hour and a half and keep it type of tight. I'm looking at the screen right now. I can tell that the video is not great, so I will work on that, get that all fixed, and polish it up. I really want to thank Bran the Builder again for coming on. I thank you, BBM, for doing this with me. Like I said, we're going to make an effort to do this every weekend. It'll be every Saturday or Sunday around 2 o'clock, unless something happens that we absolutely can't do it. But for the most part, we should be doing them pretty steady and just getting it together. So I appreciate everybody showing up and supporting, and I hope that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber to BBM's, he's also in the info below, as well as Bran is a excellent writer. He writes for a lot of different but for the Focalizer website that I run, he's an author on there. You can check out a lot of his work. It's also in the links. I'd like to thank Milt for moderating for me, and like I said, we'll keep polishing this up, and we'll get it smooth. Guys,
Thanks. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'll come on any video you want me to, man. I enjoy it.
I'll hold you to that. It's gonna be some weird stuff coming up.
Woohoo!
And yeah, thank you for allowing me on here, Justin, and always glad to talk to you too, Bran.
Always a pleasure, BB.
You're the co-host, man. I didn't let you on anything. This is half you, so yeah. Just don't kick me off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.